I would just like to thank each and every one of you for being here today to honor and celebrate our friend Hellen. She impacted so many lives. She brought laughter. She brought a level of irreverence at just the right time, in the right situations. And she was always there when you needed her. And so today it really is all about celebrating and also being sensitive to the fact that it's okay if we are feeling sad too, because opposites can coexist. And it's a good thing. It's how we process. We're just thrilled, though, to have you here. And I'm going to hand it over to my husband, Bob. Bob is a marriage and family therapist, and he's also a pastor here at The Point. And after he shares with you today, we're going to be opening up the floor, passing the mic around so that we can share the stories, so that we can share those moments where Hellen touched our lives in a way that we are forever different. Mm-hmm. So, without further ado, thanks.
Thanks, a bunch. Well, welcome, folks. We're honored that you're here. This is a celebration of Hellen. I've had the privilege of meeting Hellen, spending time with her, not as much as some of you, but Hellen was amazing. And she's left a mark really on each one of us with her passing, but more so with her life. And that's what we want to do today. We want to celebrate life, okay? We know death is a part of life. And if you're here, one of the things that sometimes happens, Cindy said it's okay to be sad. You know, sometimes we get angry, get mad. It's not fair. It's not right. That's okay too. All part of this process that we call grieving. And the interesting thing is, God gets that too. God understands that sense of anger, that sense of it not being fair. He's been there. So you're in a great place, you're in a safe place, and I'm just thrilled you guys came to honor Hellen. Many of you probably know, but Hellen was born in Dublin, Ireland. And I've got family down here that will correct me if I get it wrong, so, and I appreciate that. She was born October 12, 1960. She did pass on July 12, 2025. Hellen grew up in Dublin, went to high school. My understanding is she went to Rosary College there in Dublin. And sometime after Neve was born, migrated to the U.S. Quite a change, I think, from Ireland. And then around 2009, 2008, Hellen joined the Sutter family. And then about 2000, I want to say 10, I think I wrote it down, she became a site supervisor. Or 2014, I believe. And Cindy actually was an MA under Hellen for a little bit before she moved up, and then had the privilege of serving with her and with multiple supervisors. In fact, Helly, I do that all the time. Shelley and Hellen, they've become Helly to me, and Cindy spent a lot of time together and doing so many things. And Hellen touched those lives that she served with, both as an MA and then when she moved into the supervision piece. It was amazing what she did. There are things that I think about when I think about Hellen. Well, let me start first. Let's honor the family. I don't want to shift past that. Hellen is survived by several siblings, a large family. There's Gabriel, Philip, Joe, who's here, Rona, Paul, and Mark. Also survived by her daughter Neve, grandson Caleb, and so we're honored to have her family here present, and you honor them by coming. when we enter a space like this, and I know, Cindy said I'm a therapist and I'm a pastor, and it's easy for folks that speak all the time to make this into something that it's not. And I don't want to do that. By coming here, you've made this into a sacred space. You've made this into a holy space. God is here with us. And the fact that we're honoring someone that was so loved, so generous, so giving, makes this a space that is honored both here and in heaven. We've actually entered a spot that's almost in between worlds. We're here, tied to this planet. Helen has gone to be with the Lord. And we get to occupy this space and experience maybe something different. Something of God's comfort, something of Helen's personality, her love, her joy that filled that. When I think of Helen, a lot of words come up. That might be true for a lot of you. Lots of words come up when you think about Helen. I think some of the words that pop up for me, one is caring, and Cindy alluded to that, very caring. Helen had this interesting ability that she could sit down and talk with you. And it could be after a meeting, etc. It could be in a crowd like this. And she had the ability to make you feel like you were the only one in the room. She had the ability to communicate that she was fully present with you in that moment and you mattered to her. I was amazed by that. I was amazed that she could communicate that so well. Helen was very generous. We went through some pretty horrendous things several years ago, and Cindy and I. And the first one involved, besides our immediate family, was Helen. I mean, she brought food. She brought her scones that were simply her heart in cooking. It was just amazing. And she did that spontaneously. If something happened to someone that she knew or was acquainted with and said, well, Helen, do you think you could do something? Okay, I don't have the Irish brogue, but I think Helen would look at you and go, well, duh, yeah, I'm going to do something, right? Okay, all of you that know her, you're nodding, yeah, that's exactly what she would do. There was no question about her. Helen, when it came to her friends, was always dependable. You didn't have to worry about how Helen was going to be. You saw what you got, right? Absolute genuineness. That's probably the main word that I think of when I think of Helen. Genuine. There's never a fake smile. There's never, the pretend pat, I'm thinking of you, and she's thinking about what's happening the next day. Helen was generous, genuine, giving. Helen had a great sense of humor. Now, I've experienced that. My understanding is that in meetings, Helen could be somewhat irreverent in her humor. Some might even say inappropriate, and people loved sitting next to her because of that, right? There was that spontaneity to Helen that even during a meeting, she could come up with something that would just lighten someone's heart. And it was funny. When we approach times like this, I think it's important that we do remember that this is about life. Loss like this happens, and grief, and we know this, a lot of us are in the helping professions. And in the helping professions, we often spend so much time helping others, we forget about ourselves. and we forget about the necessity that we need help too. Because, grief doesn't go in a straight line. It wanders. It turns into a circle, turns into a spiral sometimes. All of that's okay. Helen, I think, if I can be so bold, would want you to go ahead and go through that and go through it and be past it. Helen would want us to remember her as she was, not as a loss, but as a profoundly great friend, family member, colleague, co-worker, someone who contributed to her job, to the patient that she and her team served in a way that actually made a difference. That's what I think about when I think of Helen. We have a couple things we'd like to do this morning. We're going to have a couple of open mics, and they'll be on each side of the room. Cindy has one, my daughter Tessa has the other. And if there's something you would like to share, because this is about you, it's not about me or what's up here, please go pick up a mic. Tessa and Cindy are there to support. But if there's something you'd like to share about Helen, a good memory, whatever it is, please take advantage and pick up a mic and let us hear from you, because that's what we're here for.
Hi, everyone. My name is Renee. I've worked with Helen for, oh my God, so many years I can't even remember. Probably for as long as she's been with Sutter. Joyce, it's feels like forever. So with ChatGPT, I came up with a little poem and we titled it Helen's Poem. So bear with me if I go through this. I'm a little shaky, but Helen, we all love you. Helen's Poem. A sudden silence, a heavy heart, a world turned upside down. How can we stand so far apart when just yesterday you were around? Your laugh, a bright and welcome sound. Your wit, so quick and keen. The finest soul we've ever seen. From Ireland's shore you came to work and build and share. And now the path is not the same without you standing there. The office hums, the phones still ring. But there's a quiet space, a hollow echo where your song had filled the whole place. Your kindness was felt by all that could reach beyond time and place. And though we feel this endless pain and tears fall like rain, we'll feel the sun and smile again and say your name, Helen.
Thanks, Renee. That was beautiful.
My name is Susanna, and I've known Helen for the whole time she was here. It's really hard for me to talk about Helen without breaking, because I miss her. And that picture is actually right next to my desk, and every day that I feel like I need to vent, or that I have a hard day, I turn to her, I touch it, and I said, Helen, I know. I would call her, we'd go to lunch, we would vent, and then we'll be over it. But the sweetest thing was her hugs. I felt her, and I miss that. I miss her scent. I miss her words. I miss her friendship. But I believe in God, and I believe that she's still around. And that comforts me. And I will forever miss her. But I thank the Lord that I got to meet her and that she called me her friend.
you.
Come here, Avi. Hey, my name's Pete. I worked for Helen for like the last 15 years doing maintenance every time she put a work order. Me and Avi will show up and do work orders for Helen. And before I left, she always made sure my heart was at peace. She always made sure I was happy and smiling. We talked. Every time I left her building that she took care of, she made sure she hugged me before I left and make sure I do well every day. There's nothing more I can ask for from Helen. She's I'm always going to be grateful for who she was. And all her team is here. We all know how much she meant to us. And you'll be well missed, Helen, but I know you'll always be in my heart, and your spirit will be around Sutter, because you're not a downer. You always picked everyone up around you to make sure. And I'm grateful for that, and I always will be. And you'll be well missed. Thank you, Helen.
Hi, I'm Lori Lillard. So I worked with Sutter about 15 years. I've known Helen the whole time. I did work under her as a medical assistant. What I will share is I had a work injury, and I came back to work, and I had lost all confidence, and Helen helped rebuild me in a way that was amazing. I felt really bad about myself, and she was there for me in my time of need. I enjoyed, going into her office and having our talks, and she always made me feel good about myself, and that was like super important. And I loved our staff meetings. She was just honest and raw, and I loved it. And I have a lot of energy, so when I would go in her office, she would actually help calm me down, and it was super amazing. And she was just there in that time of need for me to help to get me back to where I needed to be. And she just made me feel like, I wasn't just her employee, I was somebody. And she just gave me with love and kindness. So she would definitely be missed.
Thanks, Lorraine. Good job. I'll stay here.
Hi, I'm Shannon. I worked with Helen, for about 20 years I've known her. She was at my wedding, my bridal shower. She never forgot my birthday. I still have the last voicemail that she left me singing me happy birthday. I will keep that forever. I will miss her. Amazing personality. She always had a joke. She was always breaking out into song and dance. And her scones, last time I saw her in the office, she said, "Hey, I made scones. Do you want some?" And I was like, "I do." And she said, "I didn't make any." I don't know why I said that. My mom used to do that. But I think everybody knows how special she was and how much she's going to be missed.
All right. Well, my name is Alyssa. I also loved Helen very much. Helen was the first person, I think, who really made me believe in myself, that I could be more than just a medical assistant. She really fostered that in me and helped me move up in my career with Sutter. And she was just so kind. And she'll be very missed. And I also just want to say that I'm sure he knows it, but I want Caleb to know that he is the light of her life, and she never went a moment without talking about him. And every time I saw her, she was so proud to talk about how big and how much she loved him. So I wanted to say that too.
Alyssa, just to piggyback off of what you said about Kayla being the light of her life, if you ever had an opportunity to go into Helen's office, you would just laugh because there were no pictures of anybody else but Caleb. And she was always bragging about you. What a wonderful young man you had grown into become. From the time you were super little up until the very end, you were the one, the light in her life. I feel like we know you. Probably we're all a sea of faces to you, but we know exactly who you are. Your grandma was amazing. And we appreciate the family sharing her with us.
This is hard, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Wow. I think the thing that stands out in my mind the most with Helen is not just her compassionate heart and stuff and her funness and stuff. I don't know if you knew this, but I used to profile people all the time when they come to my office and stuff. And I'd ask them a question, what was your favorite band when you were a senior in high school? What's your favorite movie? And, you know, I'd do these Hallmark things, and then I would begin to kind of get an idea of who these people were. I could never figure Helen out, even knowing those things about her. My daughter always always told me growing up, Dad, you have a song for everything, because something would happen, she would get in trouble, or something would happen, and I said, I started breaking into a song, whether it's the Renegade song, or a Journey song, or a Styx song. She knew all those songs because I would sing those songs. And she goes, I was talking to Helen, and she would break out into singing. I thought, you do what I do. My daughter accused me of that, so I started humming a song, and she knew it. And I did this, and she would know that song, and say, we would have contests. Just like Sydney and I would have a certain way that we would communicate with a certain way that we say things. And it's just...
I don't know what you're talking about, Dr. Schneiderwin.
I don't know, but that's just the way we do it, so... So those are the kind of things that, Cindy and I, Helen and I shared. One thing that was probably the most important to me was that the Sutter Lincoln Clinic was my family away from my family. It was home away from home. And so in order to try to make the most of family, I appreciated the support that Helen gave me in wanting to make the break room a safe room where we could talk about anything. And we did. So, and, from the highs and lows, Helen was there for me too. I lost my dad, who was a World War II vet. That was hard for me. I lost my mom. She had Alzheimer's, so when I lost her, that was still hard. And the different things with family, she was there and always telling me, take the extra time off. We've got you covered. As a doctor, you're thinking, no, I need to get back. I need to take care of things. She says, no. And, believe it or not, when I would come back to work, there was nothing I had to do. She was right. She made sure Dr. Worley and everybody else on there took care of all of my open stuff, So I appreciate that about her so much. She could see things beyond what I could see. And I always thought me to be a spiritual man, and I've got this insight. Didn't compare with Helen's incredible ability to read and to understand who I was, what my needs were, and we could still laugh and care about that. And I certainly appreciate that about her.
Hi. Well, guys, thanks for having us here. My name is Avi. We work for facilities team. I'm literally shaking right now, but I work with Pete. There's a reason all of us are here, because we all loved her, and she's a heart of gold. I did not spend much time as you guys did, but I did spend a lot of time on the phone with her. When I see a text, is that Alan text me? I couldn't read it out. So last time I met her, like 2 weeks before she left us, I went to her house. She needed some help. And then she was full of advice. I mean, we literally sat there for 30 minutes and she was talking to me and then giving me advice, do this, do that, and then the words she used is like, okay, is that Helen? You guys know her. I wish she didn't pay me. I didn't want her to pay me, but she did pay me. And then like, no, it's fine. She said, okay. so I took the money and she was really excited. She showed me the picture of the house. I think that Saturday she was going for a walk with the realtor. So she was really excited to sell a house and move out in Roseville. So we do miss her in facilities. We talk about her when we heard about the news and we all like, Hellen Fellowes? We're like, yeah. So she was a great lady, like a gold of heart, full of advice. And we always communicated through text, amazing person. So I know what you guys are going through. So again, thank you guys for being here for her. Thank you.
I never liked public speaking, but it'll never be the same without Hellen. Watching America's Funniest Videos with Ellen and Joe, oh my God, they were funnier than the videos. Like, you couldn't stop laughing, your side would hurt so bad. And it didn't matter what was happening on the TV, those two was crazy, laughing out of their minds, singing into the night. Didn't matter who came by, we would sit in the sunroom and we'd sing songs. Helen knew them all, but our friends would come and go and everybody would be singing with us, cooking meals. Joe and I were lucky, we got to see Helen all the time, every 2-3 weeks. We miss her a lot. I'll always be grateful for Helen. When my son passed, I was there by myself. She showed up. She helped me pack, get my ticket, drive me to the airport, and just console me for that night until I could get home to my family. So I love her for that. And after that, we became very, very close. This time processing and learning to let her go has been hard, but meeting all the people that she works with has been amazing. You guys are a truly amazing bunch of people, and you can definitely see the love that you had for her, and we are very thankful for that. Thank you.
Okay, I'm not one for public speaking either, so I'll try to get through this the best I can. My name is Marlon. Helen took a big chance on me. Susanna, hi. I started out as a temporary employee, and actually Helen and Irene taught me some computer skills, and I had heard there was a permanent position coming along, and it was with Helen in the orthopedics in Auburn. So I went in to interview with her, and Joyce, plug your ears. She said, sit down. I don't need to even ask you these questions. I already know you. I know how you work. All right, she asked me a few. So she took a chance and she hired me, And we became not only good work friends, but also she was a dear friend to our family. We'd call each other and watch that Chicago Fire program and always talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. And I told her, you know, one day, Severide, I'm going to marry him. He's going to be mine. Sorry, Tom. So the next day at work, she brought me a Starbucks and it said Mrs. Severide on it for the name. And that was the closest I got to being the wife. So she then took a chance on my daughter, Caitlin, and had her come in and do some clinicals there. And gosh. So family, yep. I've met the whole family. Hi, Pablo. First time meeting you. Colleen, Courtney. Oh gosh, I don't know where I got that name, but I knew it started with a C. She talked highly of you both, so I'm actually proud to meet you both today. So, and Caleb, I've met you when you were this tall. Now this tall. The love for basketball that you had. I don't think you're playing anymore, are you? Man, why? I think she told me your favorite player was that, oh gosh, I've forgotten, but it's gonna come to me in a minute. I can't say his name. What was it? Curry. There we go. Yep. And I asked her why. Never mind. We'll talk about that later. But she remained a constant friend, a bright light to our whole family, my son, my daughter. I want to know who's going to carry on the tradition of St. Patrick's Day parties, because no one could cook like her. That soda bread, corned beef and cabbage. So please keep her daughter, her grandson, her sisters, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, close to your heart. And remember them. This is going to be a tough loss for everybody. I still think she's going to walk through the store any minute now and say, for fuck's sake, can we just all get along? But that was Helen. Sorry, I said a bad word in the church, didn't I? Oh my gosh. Sorry. All right, I'm going to sit down now. Thank you. Yeah.
And I appreciate the little bit of irreverence. It just is carrying on the tradition. Anybody else?
So just a little Irish humor for all of us that keep crying. I've always been told by Joe that I have a bladder behind my eyes.
I love it. Love it. Yes. Oh.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Joe. I'm Helen's sister. I'd really like to share with you that Helen just didn't appear like you're all describing her. From the time we were little kids, she was the very same. She always thought of everybody and everything. And I remember when I was married and I had my first baby and my husband was unemployed, and Helen would come over every Tuesday on her day off and bring a bag of groceries. There'd be sugar, tea, fish fingers, milk, bread. She would think of everything. And she was even so good that she would pick me up a packet of cigarettes too. But that was only once a week. But I mean, she was just, as you know her now, she was from the time she was born. And she was always, always the love of my life. I love her so much and I miss her. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay.
Wow. Helen was well loved. Thank you to all of you who shared. That was profound. We appreciate you letting us share those experiences. What we have now is actually a photo tribute, a montage to Helen, and it'll be up here on the screen. And just sit back and just kind of let the memories come.
It's a fitting way to end our service today, to just settle into the memories. So sorry. I know that what I'm feeling is exactly what everybody else is feeling. So we are all in good company. Sadness mixed in with the fun memories remembering the indelible mark that has been left on our lives. And there's no better way to end the time that we have together. So we're going to reconvene into another room where we get to share some scones. Friendship scones. Helen could whip up a batch before she even got in the shower in the morning and bring them into work, which is pretty amazing, because if you've ever made scones, it's really not that easy. We don't have a recipe. Joe and Holly were kind enough to use their knowledge and try to make them the way that Helen did. And even then, they said they weren't the same. So we've settled on a recipe to share with you. There are recipe cards. Please pick one up as you partake of the scones. We're calling them friendship scones because Helen would do everything by hand. She would measure the flour in her hand and the sugar and everything else. And I'm just really not that talented. So please take some time, visit with one another, have a scone in her honor, maybe even take one or two home. We appreciate you coming out today, spending time with us, sharing your memories with us, sharing your tears with us. So thankful for each and every one of you. And not only did she have an indelible mark on our lives, we also made a positive impact on her life, too. And I think we need to also remember the power of friendship. Work will come and go. Seasons of life will come and go. But I think this has driven home for me the importance of connection. Yes, we work for Sutter. Yes, we know each other in that professional realm, but we have to carve out the personal touch as well. That's what keeps our lives going. So thank you again. Please just join us out in the foyer. There are also some beads and some lovely driftwood bead like sun catchers. And Helen and Joe collaborated on that project for March of Dimes. And it is the family's wish that we take a piece of Helen home with us. So please feel free to do that. There are also brown note cards out there on the table with the memorial cards. Please fill one of those out. Share your favorite memory of Helen or what she meant to you. And we're going to give those to the family so they know how much she was loved by us. Our gift to them.